Good evening, folks. So I'm just going to do my sort of weekly breakdown. I'm just going to start from the monthly here on GJ. So the first week of May, we are bearish. We printed a bearish week. But looking at the previous months, we're obviously still well within the previous month. So I've marked up the previous monthly low here because it is a significant level when we drop the daily in the 4 hour. And there's really not much to talk about in the weekly from what I can see here. Of course, we do have this sort of area to the left that we are trading within. But if I just drop to the weekly, we can see that 2 weeks ago we had a resistance formed, and then last week confirmed that resistance with the help of the news, and that on Thursday, which is giving us a bearish week here. So we're at an interesting area because I don't think sales are really valid until we're sort of below the previous monthly low and the daily support area, and that I'll get to in a wee moment. So again, monthly and weekly, pretty straightforward there for me in terms of just basically paying attention to where we are. And most recent, if I drop to the daily, you can kind of see that we are coming down. What I was expecting last week was, well, if we have pushed up and we can remain above 162.123, which is a daily resistance, if we can remain above that, then could this potentially just be the area where we come up, form our higher support, which is in line with this resistance, and we get our continuation to the upside to potentially look to target the highs again. But of course, the news in that kicked in, and we didn't get that continuation. So we had the breakdown on Thursday, and on Friday we just kind of basically ranged that day, and we didn't really go anywhere. So of course we are still very much bullish in the market, but for me, sales aren't really valid until we're below here. And I'm just going to bring on my sort of higher time frame levels here. Where are we? We're here. So looks a bit messy at the moment, but I'm actually just going to remove them a wee second, because what I can see here is this is our, let me actually just take these off again 1 wee second. So this is our range that we were in previously on the daily. If I can just annotate this is where we are here. Okay, so this candle is our breakout candle. Okay, so basically what I'm looking at is if we can close below the daily support zone, then we could potentially look to mirror that. Of course, any further below that, we're tapping into the previous daily range and resistance and stuff to the left. Who knows, we might look to take the whole breakout candle, but that's sort of what I'm paying attention to. And the fact that if I just zoom in here on this chart, the fact that when we did have this daily support here and we tried to push further below here, we couldn't. We rejected. The following day we rejected that zone again, and then we got our support. We've then come down very heavily, and we come into that zone, instantly reject that zone. So now that we're coming back down again, for me, in order to trade a short, I need to, because daily levels are failing to close below 159.063, what I would prefer to see and what I want to see to short would be daily closures below this zone. If we get a daily close below this zone, then what we could potentially do is look for pullbacks into that zone, any sort of resistance forming and leaving that zone. We can then look to target the low, the new target, and then continuation potentially down to here, paying attention to maybe what's left. So that's what I would be looking for shorts. And it's quite evident when we drop to the 4-hour that shorts selling really doesn't make sense. You know, looking at the current range that we are in, this area here, you know, this is obviously the wick region, but again, even if you close below the support, you're selling into all this rejection, and looking left, there's no real clean traffic. These areas here, which I have marked up, that's an awful rectangle, but this is where I can see clean traffic. And for me, this is the best areas to trade. So if we say, for example, do get a close below here, there may be the option to, if I just bring on my higher time frame levels, we can kind of see where these, let me just remove this. We can kind of see how these areas of clean traffic line up against my higher time frame levels. So if we get a closure below here on the 4-hour, I don't see any reason why we can't then potentially look for sort of pullback within the next candle and look to short down to here. And I can see, like, I'm just marking up clean traffic, right? For me, this is where I can see clean traffic, and we can kind of see where these rejections come to. They come to previous higher time frame levels. So of course, you know, better sales for me is obviously below the daily zone and 159 daily candle closures. However, there may be options to sell prior to that within these clean candles to the left. And for me, buys, if we can have a 4-hour candle that closes back above 161, 604, 600, then this is our clean traffic. Of course, this is generated from the news, but left to that, we have those clean candles. So to me, I don't really want to be trading in here. Now, this is a very big range. You know, you're talking 127, 130 pip range. But even if I just go down to the 1-hour, we can kind of see how messy that is. And when we zoom out, you know, looking at the cleaner areas to trade, if I just annotate with rectangles, you know, we've got this move here, we've got these moves down, these moves up, these moves down. You know, this, if I'm just looking at awful areas to trade, range, 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 we can kind of see how where we are isn't really, you know, a nice area trading. I think going based off of last week, I got involved in, I think it was buys maybe somewhere within last week's range, and it did work out. However, it was a loss for me in a sense of how I managed to trade, but it wasn't very comfortable. I mean, I didn't really like what I was seeing. So to me, I think what I'm going to do is just remain out until we're either above here or we are potentially below 160 in here. And I may not trade in here, but I think it'll provide a better option below here than trading within here. And of course, above here is cleaner. So that's sort of my weekly outlook, my cleaner areas to trade I've marked up. So for me, it's like, well, let's just sit and wait, you know. And yeah, that's it. I mean, upside in terms of maybe higher time frame targets, if we're able to form some sort of support, we could maybe continue back up to here. If we maybe get a bullish daily close which confirms this support, this could be maybe just a support. We've pushed up, formed a resistance, we've pushed down. Is this our higher support to maybe give us that, you know, and just looking at that in line with the sort of higher time frame direction. But that's sort of my breakdown. It's quite, you know, simple, I think, when you identify the areas based off of my higher time frame ranges and candles. So that's sort of what I'm looking for. And yeah, I'll get this uploaded. But yeah, cheers for taking the time to watch if you do get that watch. So thank you very much.